Hello, my loves. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Spiritual Boujee Astrology, and we're going to take a deeper look at the full moon in Aquarius. Now, the thing about this particular full moon is that everybody is going to be affected by it in some way, shape, or form. Everybody. Now, it's easy to say, like, oh, everybody's kind of acting a little crazy, but I'm fine. I'm chilling at home. Nothing's really going on. Just because something doesn't happen in the exact moment of the full moon does not mean that you are not in the midst of it. Everyone is affected in this full moon simply because there is a transit impacting everyone's chart. All of the chart rulers are involved, every single one of them. Now, whenever we do the individual rising signs, I'll go into that a little bit more. But we have two transits going on simultaneously. First, of course, is the full moon. The full moon in Aquarius, that full moon is in a T square to Uranus. And this isn't the only T square going on. So I want to make sure everybody is on the same page whenever it comes to a T square. A T square is literally whenever the planets take a shape that looks like a T. This is kind of like a sideways T. Full moon, Uranus, Sun, Mercury. The other T square that we have going on is Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus. Whenever you put the layers as to how many planets are involved to this transit, everybody's involved. Therefore, whatever starts to occur, whatever comes to the surface, whether it is in the big picture spectrum, the environment of your macro universe of who you associate with and what you do in your life and who your friends are, who your clients are, who you're doing business with, who you're in a relationship with, there's an impact. That impact will have even more of an impact because there's the trickle down effect. If mom and dad are fighting, it's going to affect the kids somehow. They're going to see the coldness, they're going to see the issues. If there's a separation, they're going to see daddy leave. The ripple effect. Everyone is impacted in this full moon. And for the majority of us, it has been based off of the recent changes, the recent discoveries, the recent exposures coming full circle, coming to light, coming into focus, being agreed upon, something coming to light. Now, whatever is going on around us, we're in it. We've been in it. And I've said this for a while. I've actually been saying this since the start of Mercury going into shadow, and that is whatever happens in this retrograde, whatever is going on, whatever you can prove, document, have tangible evidence to support is in the better hands. It is. And there are going to be so many people that they have told this story, they have spun this tale, and they've said all of these things with no idea of a repercussion. Because for whatever reason, people who think that they can pull fast ones on other people never anticipate the repercussions. But they're there. They come, they happen. Now, for some people, in last week's week ahead, not so much this week's week ahead, and this week ahead is coming out within 24 hours of this full moon video, I mentioned the physical impacts of what this energy can manifest into. And I put a lot of emphasis on intestinal health. Your gut is telling you things. That upset belly that you don't know why. Everybody says something weird, and all of a sudden you hear that across your stomach. You're like, what? Man, I don't know what that is. Got indigestion. What is that feeling? Your gut is speaking to you. It's warning you. It's saying to do something or to not do something. It's telling you something. Now, for some people, it's not just the idea of the gut speaking to you. There's been a true health manifestation within you. And I cannot tell you how many people have messaged me going, I have a pinched nerve in my sciatic, in my hips. I have something wrong with my feet. I'm on crutches. Mom's blood sugar spiked. Uncle's in the hospital. Something's happened. And I've had those little DMs throughout the week going, hey, yeah, that the health manifestation, I'm really glad you warned me of that. But given all of the pressure of what this can be, not everybody is having it manifest physically here. For other people, it is the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're carrying everything. And as we're building up into this energy more and more, I'm seeing the anxiety spike. Oh my God, how am I going to handle this? How am I going to carry everything? How am I going to pay for everything? How am I going to do everything? What is going to happen next? Oh my God. You're pulling your hair out. I know this because I've physically seen you in our sessions, guys, pulling your hair out. I'm not making fun of you. I'm being so real. Just sitting there, just holding your head going, I cannot believe this is happening. And I get it. I do get it. When you feel like the world is falling apart around you, when you feel like nothing is being heard, I understand. I get it. But we are in temporary energy. That means the anxiety will not last forever. The triggers will not last forever. Those old wounds coming back around, that inability to understand where all of your emotions are purging from and the way they just keep coming to the surface. I get it. And we are in temporary energy. That means the anxiousness, the frustration, the job loss, the rumbles in your stomach do not have to last forever. They don't. There's a lot of the energy that is meant to hearken to change, provoke change. Now, for some of us, the change is so necessary because the old regiment, the old way of doing things, the old thought process never worked. It stopped working a long time ago, but we decided to live in a definition of insanity and just keep it trying, just keep it going, and da 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 da. Maybe it's going to get better. Maybe it will. Maybe it's not going to hurt so bad tomorrow. It always hurts worse. The longer it progresses, the longer it continues, it hurts worse. We're in an energy where we need to stop something, put the brakes to something. And for many, whatever is going on in this full moon, the motion that progressed towards this energy, it's been going on for a while. For very few people is it going to be new. What will be new, though, is the shake in their story. Well, I thought it went this way. Well, your check stubs, your credit card statements, the phone call list, the screenshots, the proof, the reports, the whatever say otherwise. This says otherwise. So, again, we need to understand that some things that we thought were true are going to come out to be something different. It's going to go in a different direction. Now, for some people, that is exciting. That has an amazing effect that can happen. And the long-term change can literally be liberating. One of the rulers of Aquarius is Uranus. He is the breaker of chains, the revolutionary. We break with tradition. We find a new way of doing things and we set something in motion. We expect the unexpected, but that unexpected can be so damn exciting. And there can be excitement that comes through in this full moon, an uncanny energy that uplifts and boosts and pushes something forward. And it can happen. But on the flip side, right before this full moon perfects, there is a Mercury cazimi on the opposite side. Some kind of news, some kind of information, some kind of verdict, some kind of conversation, some kind of screenshot, some kind of message. It reveals something. And for some people, there is a chain effect of what leads to the unexpected long-term decision. There's something that leads to it. You go snooping and you find that evidence, you find that proof. And it doesn't matter how many times they have told you, I would never cheat on you, baby. I would never do that. You're my one and only. You know I hold it down. No, no, no. It's not like that. It's not like that. Baby, I love you. You're the only one for me. Meanwhile, Pizza Hut and Domino's and Red Robin and Applebee's, they're texting every night. I love you, baby. When are you going to come blow my back out? What's up, stupid? What up, ugly? How you doing? You know what I'm talking about. This is a timeline where being dishonest is not in anyone's favor. And they can get caught because it does not matter how much we have said over and over again. I'm not doing that, babe. It's never going to happen. It's not like that. It's not what you think. It's not what they're saying. I don't know why it's coming out this way. I don't know why everybody's acting this way. I would never. Huh. Then what's this? Who this? I met your girlfriend. I met your boyfriend. What's going on? What's going on? Not everybody's prepared for what's going on. But whenever that comes to light, whether it is you getting caught or catching someone else or cornering somebody with the evidence, in that moment, someone can still try to lie and gaslight. No, 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 no. This is not what it is. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who you've been talking to. I don't know where all this stuff is coming from. What the hell? I don't know. Because they don't want to accept responsibility. But you have it. You have that proof. And in that moment, when you see that they're never going to accept responsibility, when you see their underhanded methods and way of thinking and their childish antics, when you see it, it's just like, man, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going to do this with you. I want you out of my house tomorrow. The thing about the T-squares, especially for the mutable signs and the fixed signs, the mutable signs, Gemini rising, Pisces rising, Virgo rising, Sagittarius rising. Because whenever it comes to the transits and when it comes to forecasting, we talk about it for the rising signs, not the sun signs. That T-square means whatever's going on in these two areas impacts another. Same thing with the fixed signs. So Aquarius rising, Scorpio rising, Taurus rising, and Leo rising. That T-square, the back and forth of this individual, of this communication, of this partnership, affects another area. And for some people, the excitement of this full moon leads to some major breakthrough and change in career. A huge opportunity. For other people, it is this exchange between us back and forth. It's going to lead to something happen in the household. Again, get out of my house. For some people, it's not getting out of my house. It's taking out a loan because you're going to change something in the house. You're going to do something different. You're going to go house shopping. You make an agreement to take care of a family member or to have a family member taken care of because something has turned in their health. Something has changed in their health. Whatever is changing, whatever's going on in the maker or breaker situation, in the unexpected course correction that we are on, for many, many people, it's going to trigger wounds that we thought we had healed. It is testing our insecurities. It is testing our tenacity. And some people, by the end of this retrograde, you will not feel like you have healed. The test will be so large that it will trick you into going into bad habits, those old ways of thinking. And that can be something that happens in the weeks following the full moon, not exact to the full moon. Whatever happens in this full moon has a long-term effect. I've been very clear about this. Whatever has changed in our opinion of another person, whatever story has been altered, whatever commitments have changed, whatever communication has changed, whatever contracts, agreements, guidelines, stipulations have changed. There's a reason for that. And it is going to lead to what will be part of the newer shake-upping energy and the remnants in September and October, specifically eclipse season. If we do well in this energy, then eclipse season will be positive, emotionally hopeful. It will have peace and balance. But for others, if we're not in alignment and we let this energy grab us, we let everything go to shit, and we start to go into doubt, then what happens in the next few months is going to be a deeper hole to sink into and wallow in. But the thing is, if healing has been real, you won't stay there. And that at least is the blessing. Now, this full moon has two rulers. Aquarius has two rulers. The traditional ruler is Saturn, good old daddy Saturn. And Saturn is busy during this full moon, making that opposition to Venus and making that square to Jupiter. There is a guidance, there is a judgment, there is a result, there is something that is being impressed upon another person. For some, what is being impressed upon is, you have pushed my buttons for the last time. Why? Because Saturn is retrograde. He's going backwards over things and areas that he's already been in. He's changing his mind about some things. The other, again, ruler of this full moon is Uranus. And Uranus, whenever it goes through a square with the sun, which the full moon is in a square, so therefore we have the square with the sun, it's like something exciting also starts to halt. It's not as exciting anymore. And little by little, as we're seeing more and more of these unexpected waves, that excitement's wearing off more and more, but in different ways each time. And what we'll start to see after this moment is another round of somebody hitting the brakes. Some people will see what is happening in this full moon, and it will be shocking. It will be unexpected, but it will also make you second guess your decisions, second guess the situation, second guess the possibilities, the outcome, who you're partnering with. And one of the things that I said that we were meant to start a lot of new things back in April through that eclipse season. We were meant to, but I also clearly stated the new things we are starting, only so much was going to stick. Because once we got into the last part of the year, hello, August, little things would come through to test the tenacity of those things. And again, some of us, we are solid, but we are teamed up or partnered up with somebody trying to make something work, and they are not as solid as you thought they were. And you start to see that. You start to see the insecurities. You start to see that they're not who they say they are. You start to see those little cracks in their facade. And little by little, after this full moon, we'll start to pull away. We're going to start to pump the brakes. And some people will end up moving forward in this new direction that we've been paving for a while on their own, not in partnership, not with that friend, not with that teammate, but on their own. Because one of the best words that you can use with Uranus is independent. And there will be a shift in independence, either directly during the full moon or in the days around it. I hope everyone has been doing well in their health. And I hope everybody is prepared for this. We've been building up into this energy for the last few days. And of course, whenever it comes to the energy around the full moon, we're going to be feeling it for days. And that can speak volumes as to how it manifests and when it manifests. Because for some people in that moment, they're fine. Full moon perfects, nothing's happening. But the next day, a few days later, by the end of the week, something hits. And the awareness will change. Just remember, whatever's happening in this full moon, it's not just about this full moon. Whatever comes to light, whatever is being exposed, whatever has been revealed, whatever has happened, as long as we're being authentic and honest, we're going to be fine. And given the capacity of the 2 T-squares and all the planets involved, you can be having an amazing time at work and a shitty time at home. You can be rocking and rolling in your relationship, but suddenly no money because of the way these transits are happening. Multiple things can be occurring under the theme and energy of one full moon because of the other transits involved. And I need people to be prepared for that. The thing about mutable placements, especially Gemini and Virgo, is the multitasking. Virgo, give me all the books all in front of me, and I'm going to line it all out, and I'm going to tell you every volume, every chapter, every page. I'm going to know, and it will be deciphered. Gemini, crazy and everywhere, but they know where everything is and what everything says. And this is organized, even though it looks like chaos to you. Organized chaos. Many of us could be going into this energy feeling like we are in organized chaos. One area of life is solid and sound and good, while another area is a dumpster fire. Both things can be true simultaneously. And if you are aware of that, you can see that. It makes it easier to manage. Okay. Now, again, the way that I read the charts is by a whole house system. I don't care if your ascendant is at 2 degrees or 20 degrees, the entire zodiac sign that your ascendant is in is your first house, and every numerical house is in the zodiac sign that follows. And again, like I said before, you can listen to your sun sign if you like, But really, whenever it comes to horoscopes, horoscopes are written for rising signs and not sun signs. And that's why that birth time is so damn important. Okay, let's get into it. For Aries and Aries risings, babies, babies, babies. This isn't as direct for you guys, but I know you're feeling it. I know something's going on, whether it has to do with your family, whether it has to do with a partner, whether it has to do with work, whether it has to do with kids, a loved one, where you feel like something can be falling apart in one area of life, something else can be going very, very good. And you can have some kind of unexpected phone call from another person saying, hey, I need money. Can you help me out? Can you do me a solid? Can you do this thing? Why do I say that? Because the full moon is in your 11th house of friends and network and clients and colleagues, squaring Uranus in your second house of money, your assets, your stuff. Hey, can I borrow the welder? Can I borrow your trailer? Can you help me move? Can you do this thing unexpectedly? What do you mean you're moving? I got kicked out. We broke up. I'm moving out. Can you help me? It happens sometimes. Now, your chart ruler, Mars, is in your third house, travel house, siblings house, communication. Some of you could have had a very serious conversation with another person that something needs to change, or else they didn't like that conversation. And why do I say that? Because over the weekend, or over the last week, Mars made a conjunction to Jupiter in your third house, but it also went through a square with Saturn in your 12th. You could have had some news unexpectedly, almost like a blindsiding thing, that you didn't like the outcome. You didn't like how it went. You didn't like the story. You didn't like how things were talked about. You didn't like what came to light because it made you more aware of something from the past, something that we don't want to face, that we struggle with facing. There's an intensity with this full moon. And the intensity around this full moon is later going to impact what changes between you and another. This has a trickle effect. This has a flow of energy that will speak to something later. When I say later, I mean September, October. You can hear something from a friend unexpectedly about an ex, about somebody else. Oh yeah, I heard they got a new girlfriend. I heard they moved on. I heard they got a new dog. I saw them on Facebook. I saw this thing, and it goes right here, right in the heart, right in the gut, twist, turn. You just had to dig that deeper, didn't you? Yeah, they did. The Mercury Cazimi is in your 5th house of love, luck, joy, romance, happiness, and children, but Mercury is retrograde. It is very easy to hear that somebody else has moved on, has gone in another way, has rethought their position and decided, no, no, not this, not now, never again. It's very easy for that to be the case. And it can make you very aware of where we need to make changes because we need to be more protective of ourselves. Okay. We have the 9 of Wands. We have this 5 of Coin. And we have this 8 of Swords. Very heavy energy. This is what I was saying. Some of you can be going through something where you find out something else that you didn't know. Something else that had been forgotten. That unexpected call from a friend and, hey, can you help me move? I didn't, what? I got kicked out, broke up, blah, 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 blah. And then you get over there and come to find out your buddy was the one cheating and now you're mad because you're helping him. But you already agreed. These types of things. You discover while going out and about that your ex has moved on. Somebody's gone in another direction. Something has changed. For some of you, it has nothing to do with your ex. It actually has to do with your kids. And something has changed around them. Because again, that Mercury Cazimi is in Leo, which is your 5th house. And it can make you question the validity of something. Or it can make you very aware of the validity of something. That kid can be yours. They might have been cheating, but that doesn't mean that they were cheating at that moment. And there can be peace that comes through, an unexpected, uncanny peace that will then allow for you to make different changes in the way that you see your family and your home life moving forward. You could have something unexpected happening at work. Saturn also rules that 10th house of career that can impact you financially, that later is going to impact the way that you see your home life or your family. That takes us to the other three cards. You have the Six of Swords, the Hierophant, and the Four of Coin. For some of you, based off of the changes made in management by another person, by a higher authority, it is leading you to take a different kind of action, different kind of approach, and go into a different way. And that Six of Swords speaks to wherever we're going next is going to be better than where we have been. But we also need to be aware. We need to be protective of ourselves, because whatever we start to think we can embark on, the potential of where we're going to go next, of how we're going to go next, of where we're going to make new commitments next. We need to be smart about how we're using our money and our time and who we're sharing our space with. Because wherever we start to maneuver, we need to make sure that they're solid too. And ask the right questions. Because if people are not solid, they can only fake it for so long. And then those little things start to come to the surface. It's good like that. Happens that way a lot. We've all kind of been there. Now, in the moment, is this full moon super intense for you guys? Not necessarily. Not really. Unless we start to deal with health things. And again, intestinal health, kidneys, sexual organs, intestinal health for sure. We can also have things that start to impact our legs and our spine and pain in other ways. You need to be prepared for that too. You need to be aware of how your body is feeling. If your body is feeling a certain way, do not push it. Don't create a strain that's not necessary. If you're starting to feel something is off, that's a warning. Listen to your body. Listen to the warnings. They're meant to help you. We usually have warnings. We just choose not to pay attention to them. But there's a big change that's coming through here, and it's going to allow for a lot of Aries risings to start making big changes in their home life. And the big changes in their home life are going to start to come over the next 6 months, starting in September. And that'll be a huge energy for you guys. And something we have not talked about yet, but we're going to start. Because there'll be a large pattern of things that are going to go forward. Okay. Moving along. Moving along. Okay, so for Taurus and for Taurus risings, my loves. So this is a full moon in your 10th house of career and public image and goals and your hopes and your dreams and everything that you got crossing your mind. But Uranus, the ruler of this full moon, is in your first house. Many of you are going to have some kind of unexpected thing that gets decided upon by another person that's going to directly impact you because Uranus is in your first house. Some of you, you are in a prolonged situation of change that is going to directly impact your family, but that decision that impacts your family is more likely yours. This unexpected thing, this unexpected discovery that starts to make us rethink how we have our home life, where we're living, or how we're sharing space with somebody else. Some of us are not happy with the people that are sharing our space, that are in our surroundings. We don't feel like we can trust them. We don't like our roommate. We're not happy with the fact that the boyfriend or the girlfriend of our little brother, sister, whoever, has decided to take up residency in their room. and we're dealing with it. We don't like what's going on in our home life. And it's starting to make us rethink how we see something in the future. Uranus is in the first house. Now, your chart ruler, Venus, is in your fifth house of love, luck, romance, joy, happiness, and children. If you are in a roommate situation, just using this as an example, all of a sudden, because something's going wrong with you and that roommate, you're looking at the idea of moving, and what happens is you end up moving in with a different friend. Saturn, opposite Venus. You get some type of opportunity to maybe even move in with the girlfriend or the boyfriend, yours this time. And it's not exactly planned, but it ends up being something that ends up being helpful. It creates a very fast moving energy. And the thing about making these kinds of decisions, you guys don't always like the fast moving energy, but guess what? We're all on board with it. We're all on board with it. And given your chart ruler, Venus, is going to go through a square with Jupiter and Mars this week, the offer might come through at the beginning of the week to do something, to go in a certain direction, but the action, the response, the reaction, we don't make it for a few days. And that'll come more whenever Mars hits the square to Venus. That happens later this week. And it again can lead to some very rapid things coming through. So again, we have the King of Cups, we have the Fool card, we have the Three of Coins. I'm going to remind you, Uranus is in your first house, King of Cups. The Fool card and the Three of Coin, we have new things that are coming through, new things that are going to speak to our heart's content, but a lot of this new things also requires work, Three of Coin, or is going to impact the way we see our goals and hopes for the future. Three of Coin. If we're not happy with the roommate situation, we're not happy with our little brother and how they're behaving and acting at home, we're not happy with the situation at hand, that's not surprising. And with this Three of Swords energy, we can be calling somebody out on their shit, but that's not always met well with the Three of Swords. And the way things can change and come through afterwards, sometimes we have these moments where we can call somebody else out on their shit, and everybody else is so happy that somebody finally said something like, I hadn't had the time to deal with it. I hadn't been able to face it. I hadn't been able to do that. I'm so glad you said something. Six of Cups. And then this Eight of Wands energy, it speaks to how fast things are moving, because they are moving fast. But they're supposed to be moving fast. The direction is supposed to be going through fast, moving fast, changes. Because whatever changes we are making in this energy has a long-term effect, long-term energy, long-term changes. And something that you are saying can impact not only your family, but maybe somebody else's family. Because sometimes whenever we see a transit go through the fourth house of home, life, and family, and that's not always our family. And I learned that because I was in real estate for years. Those fourth house transits are not always your family, guys. Sometimes you are saying something, whatever your words are saying, it reveals something to somebody else about their family. It makes them think about what's going on in their family, even if you don't even mean to. But a lot of Taurus risings have a hand in what's at play, given the fact that Uranus rules with this full moon, and Uranus is in your first house. So the decisions you are making this week have more impact than you realize, can cost you money or make you money. And many of you could have some type of opportunity that comes through that could even save you a little bit of money. Again, you're sick of the roommates. So you're looking at another opportunity. And instead of moving in with a roommate or moving back home, you potentially move in with the boyfriend or the girlfriend, with Venus in the fifth. Again, we can make decisions in temporary energy that will have a lasting long-term effect. And I don't get to say that very often with a Mercury retrograde, but this time, okay, moving along. Moving along for Geminis and Gemini risings. I know it's been a shit show. I'm sorry. I know some part of your 12th house is being activated again, and I'm sorry. I didn't get a vote in the transits. I am just the messenger. So remember that part. Now, what's interesting about this full moon is the fact that the full moon itself is not in a dominant place for you guys. It's in the 9th house. It's a travel house. And in the moment, there can be just a lot of things that have to do with travel. There can have to be something with institutions. So again, a lot of the back to school energy, we're having things going on in the classroom, or having some things going on with the teachers. Some of us are looking at the idea of potentially having to go back to school so you can learn something different because you're tired of the career that you're in. And that speaks more to the layers of a full moon in the 9th house, while Saturn is squaring Jupiter in your first. Now, Saturn just hit a square to Mars. And that happened right after the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. So whatever happened in the last few days is playing out with this full moon. But whatever happened in the last few days, y'all have been taking the action because that Jupiter-Mars conjunction was in your first house. The conversation that can come through around this full moon can be, I want to travel somewhere I haven't been before. I want to go somewhere different. I want to go to Canada. I've never been to Canada, so that's somewhere different. I want to go to Haiti. I want to go to Jamaica. I want to go to Bali. I want to go to Indonesia. I want to go somewhere I don't want to stay here no more. And Gemini risings coming from a Gemini sun, sometimes we don't want to sit here no more. We're sick of looking at this place. We're sick of feeling like we're stuck. We're sick of these walls. We're sick of this boss. We're sick of this situation. And by God, I want to do something different. Let's go. However, that Mercury retrograde, Mercury being your chart ruler, there can be something that whenever we go, we find wrong with the car. We have a delay with our luggage. We have a delay in our travels. Because something was not planned, something was not expected. Now, the other thing about this Mercury retrograde and the way that has went through is that some of you are having to deal with things tied to your family. And you are pushing for a decision. You are pushing for something to happen. You are pushing for something to get looked at differently than what was there before. And that is because Jupiter and Mars are both going to square Venus in your 4th house of home, home life, and family. Some of you are having to travel to go see your family, to go deal with the family estate, to go deal with grandpa's stuff. You guys are having to do some extra thing, decide on some extra thing that you didn't necessarily want to deal with, but it fell into your lap anyways. Something unexpected around this full moon. Now, Venus in the 4th house can mean, with her hosting Uranus and her hosting the South Node, can have unexpected things going on in your home life. But Venus has been here since the start of the retrograde, so all month. So I'm not just talking around this full moon. I am talking around a lot of this month when I talk about the Venus stuff with you guys. However, so many of you are making certain changes, making certain arrangements, doing certain things. And it's like you have some great idea and you reveal it to another person and they don't necessarily vibe with it. They're not quick to agree to it. They're not okay with everything because so much of them has fear that they haven't been able to overcome yet, that they're not working through quite well. This 8 of Cups speaks to that fear and not being able to let go of the past. So we have the 8 of Cups, the Death card, and the King of Wands. You see that there. For us to finally let go, we have to accept the changes, the good, the bad, the ugly. We have to allow for things to transform. And the one thing that I did say is whenever Mars is in your first house, you guys are going to be a lot more determined. It will boost your confidence. It will make you a lot more easily frustrated, a lot more clumsy. And you probably got some extra bruises on your body that have just magically appeared and you don't know why. Well, I do. As a Mars ruled person, I know exactly what that is because it happens to me all the time. Mars has made you clumsy. But Mars can also be bringing something up and having it revealed in this Mercury retrograde that there's something disrupted in you, in your body, in your ideas, in your identity, in your decision making. And as much as this can be a positive energy, that Mercury retrograde cazimi can reveal your lies, what you thought you were achieving. And I need you guys to be prepared for that too. Don't get caught. I remember coaching a bunch of Gemini risings through that Gemini Mars retrograde that we had in 2022. And some of y'all made some real bad calls. Mars coming back into Gemini, it's been bringing that stuff back up. And some of you have had some parts of the past that you didn't want to face come back around. And there are reasons for that. Some of you need to face the music of your past decisions. Some of you are forced to deal with the repercussions of your past decisions. Some are having final lessons in your karma. And we need to be aware of that. We have the Three of Cups, Six of Wands, and the Hierophant. And the more positive outlook whenever it comes to this full moon, especially if we are looking at travel and going somewhere we haven't been before, we haven't been to in a long time, if we're looking for an escape, if we're looking to go somewhere that we have wanted to go to for quite some time, even if it's just a county over. I got to get out. I got to go for a drive. I got to do this extra thing. There's happiness in those moments. There's small victories in doing what's right for your mental health. And I want you to be serious about that. However, if the full moon in your ninth house is bringing more about institutions, those institutions can blindside with you again with something that is going on that can impact your ego, your identity, your mind, your body. And that can be something disruptive. All the layers are there. For some of you, it is a good full moon. For others, it's a nightmare. And it doesn't matter how hard you try to reason with yourself, it's forcing you to make a change. It's necessary to make a change. And we're in that change. You are making a change. Be aware of that. Okay. Moving along. For Cancers and Cancer risings. Okay, my loves. Now, this is a full moon in your 8th house. That's a financial house. That full moon is squaring Uranus in your 11th house. That's your friends. That's your network. That's your clients. That's your colleagues. Something is going on with a client, with a friend, with your roommate, in your living situation, in your travels. Something unexpected, something very disruptive that's costing you money. Why do I say this? Because the full moon in your 8th house, this is death, debt, taxes, inheritance. Some of you can actually learn about the death of someone. Some of you might have to be dealing with inheritance or a tax payout. Some of you might be having to spend a little bit extra money to reach your clients. This is more like a sales thing. And we got to buy some additional leads because it's necessary to help grow our business, that full moon squaring Uranus in the 11th. Now, the other T-square involved is Saturn squaring Jupiter opposite Venus. This is in your travel houses. This is in your learning houses. And there could be things that you are learning through past coming back around with the Mars-Jupiter conjunction in your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. The thing about prolonged 12th house transits, which we've now been in 12th house transits with you guys since the end of May. And at first, I was not too worried about you guys. But as we've gotten deeper into the Mars one, I've been seeing the pattern of more and more of you getting grabbed by your insecurities and feeling frustrated and feeling like things are either moving too quickly or not moving fast enough, not going in the direction that we wanted, not doing what we would hope. And it's really hurting us mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, because again, the full moon is in your 8th house, which is the financial house, taking a lot of energy out of you. Just remember, time is a construct, and the changes that are going through, the possibilities of changes that are happening, the seeds are planted. It's going to happen. For some of you, you know you have changes coming, but there's a delay, and we're sick of the delay. Why the delay? Why? Because not everything can happen in temporary energy. And again, it's a Mercury retrograde, babies. Temporary energy. Now, some of you, we need to review some financials. We need to take a deeper look at that credit card statement. We need to take a deeper look at that tax bill. We need to take a deeper look before we just write a check and send it off. No. The financials need to be reviewed. And we need to look at the accounting. What's receivable? What's been paid out? How much is left in our bank account? And there can be something that comes to light that directly impacts the financials. And you can realize that we thought we were making all of these great decisions, not, just a few months ago. And now there's no money left. It's gone. Something is missing. And that can come through based off of the Mercury retrograde in your 2nd house of money. But it might not have anything to do with money. It might have to do with assets. And you might find something from the past, something that you weren't anticipating. Find something that had more value, or something that you thought had value. Suddenly it's worthless. It has no value at all. Suddenly get the impression of stock or some crypto, something that's like, oh yeah, it was worth a crap ton of money like 3 weeks ago. And now all of a sudden, tanked. There's nothing there. And it's going to take some time for us to wrap our head around that. Now, again, the financial reviews might have a lot of back and forth, might have a lot of questions, and might have a lot of arguments, especially if we are arguing out like an insurance payout, or we're dealing with, again, the accounting firm, or if we're dealing with an insurance company, because 8th house transits can have to do with a lot of the topical financial things. But the underbelly of that is that it can be secrets. It can be affairs. It can be things. And you can be doing everything you thought you needed to do, just going about your life, going about your business. And you just happen to be at the right place in the right time. And that full moon in the 8th house squaring Uranus in the 11th is you're catching somebody doing something they should not be doing. You catch them in the act. You catch them in the affair. You catch them. And that's not going to be easy for a lot of people. But we have the Judgment card. We have the 7 of Coins and the 6 of Wands. You catch somebody in the act doing something shady. Oh, there is judgment for sure. Whatever is going on has been going on for a while. The 7 of Coins talks to the seeds that have been planted. That's not a new affair. That's their little boo thing that's been on the side for months. Now, the 6 of Wands speaks more to success. And if we're dealing more on the financial side, which I hope more people are dealing with the financial side, and you're trying to dispute that extra charge, that extra argument, that extra thing, the 6 of Wands can be successful. We achieve something. We have an agreement. We make this change. We finally move in a good direction. Because again, timing is everything. Not everybody's going to get all of the deals they anticipated through the Mercury retrograde because, again, temporary energy. Some of you are going to make deals in this temporary energy that's going to benefit one side because, again, I'm selling my house, I'm selling my business, I'm selling this thing. It works great for them. But then after you get your hands on it later, you realize it's going to be a lot more work than you anticipated. That doesn't mean that you can't have success in it, because many of you can. But there will be a need to understand something before you can really get into that success, and that's not going to come through overnight. Oh, for those that are struggling with your mental health, you need to start to find your circle. You need to find your people. Mars, Jupiter, and that conjunction in your 12th. I had a lot of people have had triggers from the past come back through. And the thing about the fears that can come through in this energy, this is specific to you guys now, is that it can put us back in a place to where we start to deal and handle and connect with people that are not good for us, if it triggers us all the way back to the old version. And that's going to be something we start to talk about more in September. But that's going to be a part of how we deal with Pluto going back into Capricorn later. There are things in this energy that can trigger us into a past way of doing things, a past behavior. For some of you, that can be very detrimental. So if we are having the triggers of fear and anxiety and mental health, you need to utilize your circle to do whatever is necessary for your mental health. Do your daily meditation, do your active meditation, do whatever it is that you need to do. Shake your booty, get out of that funk. Because after Mars is done in Gemini and we get into September, Mars is going to come into the first house. And for some of you, the actions that you will start to take after that can be very, very self-deprecating if you're not careful. Okay, moving this along. Moving this along, we're going to go to Leos and Leo risings. My loves, my loves, my loves. What have you revealed? Who have you revealed it to? I know that sounds specific, but that Mercury Cazimi is in your first house. So many of you, you have done the revealing. You have made the change. You have decided to go in a different direction. You are starting a relationship. You are changing something in your routine. You are dealing with the intestinal issues. Remember what Mercury represents in regards to like that intestinal health? You are dealing with that in this Mercury Cazimi. Not fun. Some of you, you're feeling these things in your gut that start to come up to the surface more and more and more. And again, you need to listen to your gut. You need to trust the energy around you. And you need to recognize the differences within the other. Because the full moon is in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships. There is a possibility in this moment that the change that has happened around you seems hopeful. That seems like promise. That's not necessarily true, but I know it feels that way in the moment. And until we're ready to talk about the other, I'm not going to mess with that. The full moon is squaring Uranus in your 10th house of career, opportunities, how you see the future, where you see the future going from here. Something is changing. And whatever happens can have an unexpected and very public type of situation that comes through. And you can be very hopeful in the energy. You can feel like everything is going your way and everything is being well received. And that's true in the moment. In the moment. Okay. Started with that Venus Cazimi in your first house. And the reason I did is because the Mercury, dear Lord, the Mercury Cazimi in your first house, because the sun is your chart ruler in your first house. Some of you are revealing something to another person that something has changed, that you have made a decision to change something. And it can trigger the insecurity. It can trigger self-worth. It can trigger those struggles. It can trigger so many things in our mind, and it can make us realize where we need to rethink, redo, and repurpose, because we are still so stuck in the past with this Five of Cups energy. However, if we can get unstuck from this, which for some of you, it's going to take until Mercury turns direct, and that's not happening until the 28th. So it can take until we get into September. I'm just going to round it to September for you to finally put these fears to bed and focus on the good. Focus on what you can hold on to. Focus on where you're going next with this Five of Cups energy. Because the rest of your cards are fantastic. Oh, we have the Three of Cups, we have the Sun card, and we have the Knight of Wands. Now, the thing about that Mars-Jupiter conjunction happening in your 11th house of friends, and I have warned of this so many times, guys, we can confuse friends with lovers. And the thing is this is a testing energy because Jupiter is going to be in that 11th house until June of next year. So we can have moments where we confuse friends with lovers. And that's a big possibility. Having some moment and having some time going out there. And part of what you reveal could be telling that other person, telling your friend, oh yeah, we got back together. What the, why? Why would you do that? Because he's changed. I'm going to let you have it for now. But some of you, it's not an old person at all. It's a new person that's tried to come through. It's one situation that keeps coming back around. And there is a very big definition of we need to know the difference between friends and lovers. We need to make sure that people are meeting us on a vibration that matches our own. Because the possibilities in the long term can be amazing. 9 of coins, 10 of coins. Where some of the things that you have been doing on your own for so long can finally manifest into something very, very strong in partnership. I'm going to show it again. Can manifest into something very, very strong in partnership once you share your space with another person. It can be huge. It can also be a headache. And that's me dropping a little seasoning, a little seed, letting you know if we've done something different in relationship, it will come back around in December. Because again, that Mars retrograde, whatever happened in the Mars-Jupiter conjunction, which happened last week, directly impacts the start of the Mars retrograde. And Mars retrograde starts in your first house. So I'm playing devil's advocate. And if we are confusing friends with lovers, the big if here, and we're seeing the possibility of some great big future, which is a big possibility, it can later come back to bite you in the start of the Mars retrograde. Our opinion of the situation can change. Be aware of that. Be aware. Okay. Moving along. We're going to get to Virgos and Virgo risings. All right. Oh, I know it's not the best. I know it's not fun. Mercury is retrograde. It's in your 12th house. It's the unknown, the unseen, and endings. It's bringing up all the old insecurities. It's bringing up all that old frustration. It's bringing up the past. And no matter how hard you try to do something, it's like, when is it ever going to make sense? When is it going to go well? Now, for some of you, it is going well. You've been able to manage things well. You've been able to manage things in a way that brings attention to you because Venus is in your first house. You have all this attention on you. Maybe what is going on with that Mercury Cazimis, you're going back to somewhere from the past. You're seeing someone from the past. You're dealing with something from the past. By going back to the past, where it can also be risking something, changing something, diluting something, altering something that is going to potentially impact the future. You go back to that hallmark little town and you see all your old friends and you see everything, and it's like, sweet home Alabama. Maybe I want to live here. Maybe I don't want to be in the big city. Maybe I need to be somewhere where my heart can be content. For some of you, there's nothing romantic at all going on. And whatever is going on behind the scenes, behind the surface, within your health, because this is a full moon in your 6th house of health, can create pressure in your career, in your goals, around you. And that pressure is coming from another person because they don't like the way things are going. They feel like things are needing to go in a different direction because Saturn isn't retrograde in that 7th house of relationships and partnerships and legal matters. Whatever is going on next is going to impact eclipse season. And whatever is going on right now for many of you goes back to the things that have gone on over the last 2 years. Last summer, and then that bigger timeline of September of 2022 to March of 2023. And you're feeling the ripple effects, the repeat effects, the chain energy from those times. And you're seeing the pattern again. And again, whatever is repeating right now, it's because you're meant to do something differently to make things work in your favor. Some of you realize you are seeing the pattern. There's an epiphany to it. And we're becoming more enlightened every time something comes through. We're going in these other directions. We're going to this place from the past. We're going somewhere that we had forgotten or we have thought had forgotten us. And we're realizing that's not quite the case. And it's making us question the possibilities of our direction. I think this is real interesting given the Mars-Jupiter conjunction in the 10th. For some of you, I feel like we do have the ability to wrestle between two people. We're wrestling with the possibilities of two people. The potential of happiness versus the path that we are driving. Might not be two people. It might actually just be two outcomes. And we're trying to weigh something. We're trying to get something more into balance with the Justice card. There is a hidden opportunity that is starting to align, that is pushing you all into a direction because there is something very exciting coming whenever it comes to career in the next 2 years. New ways of earning income, new parts of your path, new direction coming into focus. But for us to get into that direction and find our footing under that path, we have to allow certain things to come together. Lover's card. Now, sometimes, again, the Lover's card is literally love, but it's also two entities, two situations, two topics, two things merging into one. We need things to come together so they can be more pronounced, more successful, more known, more useful, and allow for more dominance within you to come through. There's an adjustment, an unexpected adjustment coming through. And some of you are going to feel a very harsh judgment from other people in this full moon because Saturn, one of the rulers, is hitting that opposition to Venus in your 1st house. And Mercury's in the 12th. And you can have that conversation with another person and it triggers all this old wounds, all these insecurities, all this old stuff. And again, it's a repeat and a pattern because something's meant to change and go in a different direction. You are meant to go in a different direction. Many of you are. And these little hiccups that bring up that energy, that bring up the old situations, the old things, they keep popping up for a reason. They're testing you. Are you willing to do something different this time? For some of you, doing something different is sticking with the situation of just powering through and knowing things get hard sometimes, but powering through and moving forward, making something happen. accomplishing something. For others, though, you've been in the bad situation forever. You've always been the punching bag for whatever boss you're under, what you're working with. And now the test is, can you do something different? Will you do something different, or will you stay in the same pattern of toxic workplace, of toxic relationship, of the toxic environment? Your plans are meant to change with and around this full moon. And many of you, the changes are not your decision to make. You will be blindsided because the decision will come from someone else. And it will be something that feels very, very harsh and potentially can make you rethink again the way you make money, earn your money, work with people moving forward. Okay, moving along. Moving along. We're going to get to Libras and Libra risings. You are trouble. Oh my gosh, so many of you. You're trouble, you're trouble, you're trouble. And if it's not you being trouble, it's like all the old stuff from before coming back around is creating trouble with you guys, around you guys, because all of it is pushing your focus to where you see your career very, very differently. You see your hopes and dreams to the future very, very differently. You see your personal happiness very, very differently. You see certain connections with the way that you work with people very, very differently. Or if you haven't been, you're about to, because of the way this full moon is perfecting. Now, this is a full moon in your 5th house of love, luck, romance, joy, happiness, children. However, it's squaring Uranus in your 8th house. So are we spending money on the potential of kids? Maybe. I need that extra stuff for my football stuff. Okay, that's no big deal. That's easy to deal with. That's one way. Other way, with a full moon in your 5th squaring Uranus, an unexpected affair being discovered. And that's where I'm saying some of y'all the problem. And you know it. You gave into temptation last summer during that Venus retrograde in your 11th house. And now your chart ruler, Venus, it's in your 1st house. It's in your 12th house. And it's bringing up all that old energy. It's bringing up the past. It's bringing up those things that you don't necessarily want everybody to know about. It's bringing it back around. And some of you all, whatever happens next over these next 2 months, from this full moon all the way to the full moon in Aries, so 2 months away, it is y'all's own undoing. And none of you are going to like hearing that, but I'm not saying this to all of you. But some of you, it's your own undoing. Oh, don't get caught doing shady shit. I've said this before. This is not a good time for lies, because people have the ability to see right through them right now. So we have the 3 of Swords and the 7 of Swords. The 3 of Swords, that's a betrayal card. That's that third party card. That's Three's Company card. Both of these are betrayal cards. Now, some of you will have some type of lie told by another person that feels like a betrayal, that feels like a stab in your back, and you didn't do anything wrong. But it's still something you're dealing with the repercussion of. And again, it's going to be a major impact of how certain changes are going to go for you, especially over the next 2 months following the full moon. And I'm sticking with the 2-month thing for a while. However, for others, by having this betrayal, it's going to allow for some kind of new opportunity. It's going to bring new things into light. We have the Ace of Coin and we have the Sun card. If they would come into focus, that would be great. There you go. There you go. We have the Ace of Coins and the Sun card. And an unexpected opportunity can come through that allows for that lie, that deception, that thing that starts impacting your career to go well for you. An opportunity to go well for you. Now, the Justice card is a Venusian card. Venus is your chart ruler. The Magician card is a Mercurial card, and Mercury is retrograde. Mercury is hosting Venus. Whatever comes through in this retrograde is an undoing for you guys. Now, for some of you, it is a course correction in a positive way. It is going to pivot you into a new path in regards to your career, in regards to your public image. It is going to show a new opportunity to you in some way. The ability to level up, the course correction into a different action, into a different direction, big possibility. For some of you, it is going to speak back to the things of last summer. And again, if you did the shady things last summer, if you played in a way that you shouldn't have last summer, it will come back to bite you if it hasn't already. If you did the shady things, they can be revealed by another person. Some of you, you are revealing the shady things that another person has been up to. That's going to end a friendship. That's going to end a connection. You can bring up the secret. You can bring up the weird little things that have been going on. You can be like, hey, you should probably, I don't know, check your boyfriend's credit card statements. Why? Because you should. Check the call log. Check that Life 360. Check their location. Check their watch. You should do that. And some of you will create an undoing, but it's not your own. Now, why do I keep saying undoing? Because whenever we start to round into eclipse season, that new moon eclipse in Libra is going to be conjunct the South Node, things that need to be released, things that need to be purged, things that we don't need anymore. And for a lot of you, the next 2 months will have waves of release and undoing and backstabbing and things going on behind the scenes, behind the surface that you are not aware of. And even some of the stuff that you are aware of, you have no idea the rest of it and what's going to come and what's going to happen and what's going to shake everybody up. You got no clue, but it's coming. Oh, it's coming. Whatever is happening right now for you guys, chain effect, one thing after another, all the way through, especially for you guys. It's taking us right into eclipse season. And if you feel like you're being forgotten, it's probably because you are. If you feel like your family isn't paying attention and you're having the old triggers and the old wounds popping back up, it's necessary. It's going to be a part of that next round of unfinished business that we got to deal with whenever Pluto goes back into Capricorn, where we have to work through this one area of fear one more time. And there's going to be a lot of things for you guys over the next 2 months that trigger fear, frustration, insecurity, and questioning the possibilities of where you go next in the future, how you move forward. The insecurities are real. And some of you, you've already been feeling them. But the majority of you, they've been coming through right in this energy, right through this month. Those insecurities are things that we need to address and work through. How, what, why, that gets into more defined thought process and defined conversations. Because it's a little bit different for everybody based off of your age, your time lord, and everything else. But I'm telling you right now, for a lot of you, this energy is about to feel like a downhill slope for the next 2 months. And I need you to be mentally prepared for that. Because you're going to think the world is against you. And that's not necessarily the case. Okay. Moving along. Okay. For Scorpios and Scorpio risings. Oh, some of us are the problem. I've been saying that one for the while, and it all has to do with Oh, Pluto and Mars. Now, whenever it comes to Pluto, Pluto's not active in this full moon. He's not necessarily a part of it per se. He's co-present because he's wrapping up his little trip in Aquarius right now. But this is a full moon in that fourth house of home, home life, family, roots, ancestry, squaring Uranus in the seventh house. That's a little bit interesting. It's a little bit different than the other people because whatever is happening might not be your family in this full moon. It might be the family of another person because Uranus is in the seventh house. We're shaking up the family of another person. We're seeing the shakeup within our own family based off of what's changing in the partnership because Uranus is in the seventh. That Mercury Cazimi in that 10th house of career means some of what starts to come through can really start to shape and make us rethink our plans for the future. Are we in the correct career? Are we making the right decisions? Are we in the right connections? Are we doing the right things? It's a possibility that some of us are. It's a possibility that some of us are not. Now let's talk about the are not things. Saturn is in the fifth house of love and luck and joy and romance and happiness and children. And it's been squaring Mars and Jupiter in the eighth house. Fifth house energy to eighth house energy can be affair energy. You can get caught. Your secrets can come out. Another person's secrets can come out. Whether it's you being the secret holder, getting exposed, or another person's secrets getting exposed because you caught them. Don't be surprised either way. Big secrets can come through. Now, we can also have shifts in our luck that can lead to financial gains with that Mars-Jupiter conjunction in the eighth. That energy for some people was either gains or huge expenses right in that moment. I didn't really see like an in-between on that one. But I feel like a lot more people, we got gains. We have some seeds planted of what we want to do next, of some of the things we want to change, some of the directions we want to go. And any ideas that you have had for business or making money, you guys need to really take that into consideration, but don't try to move forward with it. Notate it, do your research, but don't move forward with it until after Mercury goes direct. So I'm saying until September. Don't really go through with it until September. Because the thing about the ADHD energy of a Mercury retrograde with so many things in the mercurial houses is that we have all these great ideas and no energy to do any of them. So if you've been having the ideas coming through about new ways, different ways that you can connect with people, help people, teach people, do things with different people. You're going to start an online store. You're going to start that podcast. You're going to do that thing differently. That podcast, that business can be a huge shakeup for your career, not just in this moment, not just in this month. But again, whatever happened during that Mars-Jupiter conjunction last week is going to impact the start of the Mars retrograde later this year. And some of you are having the opportunities to make some really big decisions to go in a whole new direction. We just haven't got there quite yet. Because we have a lot of things that we need to face in the meantime. So let's talk about these first. We have the Nine of Swords and we have the 10 of Swords. I'm going to keep saying this to people. This is not a good time to be caught in a lie. If we have been hiding something and that hiding starts to manifest into anxiety of like, oh, when is it going to change? When is this going to go different? When am I going to see him again? When am I going to call again? When are we going to see this? Oh, I hope my husband's not looking. I hope my wife's not looking. I hope I can just keep this secret a little bit longer. Don't do that. Now, if you're already in it, I know, I get it. You're not helping yourself. And again, people are more likely to get caught this month because of the pattern and because of the retrogrades energy and because of the revelation stuff, don't do that. And some of you, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the other people. And that Mars-Jupiter conjunction in the 8th house, again, can be hugely impactful for you financially. Again, if we've had different ideas of things that we need to do in business, I'm really serious about hold on to them until the first of the month. Let's get through Labor Day and all that. And I know that's like the 3rd of the month, but still, we need to just get through a couple of days before we start planting those seeds for that long-term energy. Do your groundwork now. Look at the possibilities now. Do your homework. Do whatever you need to do. Get the guidance to narrow down your search, narrow down your focus, because that focus can be huge once Mars goes into Cancer. Okay, keeping that going. The next 3 cards speak to the Strength card, the 3 of Cups, and the Emperor, and these are all very, very positive. We can have something change in our home life based off of another person. We can have something going on with our mother or a family member based off of a legal matter. That's the way this full moon reads in the immediate. We can have somebody arrive at our home to serve us papers, Uranus in the 7th. But we can also have something shift in our loved ones, Saturn in the 5th, opposite Venus in the 11th, forcing us to go talk to other people, deal with other people, connect with other people in some way, shape, or form, introducing our friends to our elders, to our loved ones, having our loved ones introduce us to their people. See my friend, help my friend, do this thing with my friend. And it allows for something else to start to transform and take shape. I really like this full moon for Scorpio risings. I think the majority of you are starting to question the financial aspect. And Jupiter in your 8th is meant to expand that financial aspect. But as much as it can expand the potential of income, it can also expand your debts. And if we're not doing the right things in this month, then expect the expansion of debts later on. But if you are doing the right things this month, if you are paying attention to the downloads, if you aren't just sitting in your rut and you're starting to really center in on how well you can succeed and how well you can do things and how well you can connect with people, this Emperor can be lazy just as much as he can be determined. And for a lot of Scorpio risings, there is a determination coming through in this energy. But are you going to allow it to be a temporary motivation, a temporary finding, or a long-term finding? Some of us, we are rethinking something for the long term. That does not have to be a bad thing. Okay. Moving along. Let's get this going. We're going to get to Sagittarius and Sagittarius risings. Oh, my loves, my loves, my loves. This is a full moon in your 3rd house. That is short distance travel. That is communication, marketing, branding. Given that your chart ruler is in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships, so many of you are looking at the changes in your marketing because you know that's also changing the way other people see you. You're communicating more. You're breaking out of the mold. You're doing something a little bit differently. You're being more open with your words. The Mercury retrograde in your 9th house can have a different opportunity. Somebody from the past coming back through, but it's just like they're not in town coming back through. They're out of town. Or they're coming into town from out of town going, oh, hey, I want to be in town on like Tuesday. Can we get lunch? Can we hang out for a little bit? Can we do this thing? I don't know. Let me check my schedule. That might be a possibility. And there can be something that gets communicated unexpectedly. And by going to lunch, you get some kind of opportunity. Why do I say that? Because Mercury is hosting Jupiter, Mars, and Venus Jupiter is in your seventh house of relationships and partnerships. Mars, seventh house, relationships, partnerships. Venus in your 10th house of career and public image. The influence of another person can deeply change the possibilities of the future, whether that is in an actual partnership. You want to get married? You want to be my boyfriend? Want to be my girlfriend? Circle yes or no. For some of you, you're breaking away from someone. I will never be tied to you again. I will never be responsible for you again. I will never deal with this thing with you again. And that is because the square of Jupiter and Venus is also impacting Saturn in that fourth house of home, home life, and family. No, we will never get back together. I don't care what you think it's going to do, how you think it's going to impact the kids, and how much better or how much you have changed or how much you have healed. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to protect you. I'm not going to cover for you. I'm not going to do this thing for you because you wouldn't do it for me. So why would I do that for you? Now, that's the negative aspect. More of you are seeing the potential in another person. You're seeing the potential in the meetings. You're seeing the potential in the connections. That Mars-Jupiter energy has really shown you a potential. And that potential is starting to guide the possibility of something moving into the future. And right now, it just almost seems like a pipe dream. I don't know quite yet. And you go have that lunch. You go have that little meeting, that person that just blew into town, Knight of Wands. And they have this ability to just come in at the right time because you're so unhappy with your career. You're so unhappy with how things are going. You're so unhappy with something. And we see that opportunity. Knight of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, Queen of Cups. This chance encounter has divine timing tied to it. And it speaks to our heart's content, the possibilities of where we go from here, of what could be different. And the full moon in the third house can mean I can travel for work. I can do this differently. I could do that. I can get dirty every day. I don't have to work in an office. I don't have to do it this way. I can go another direction. I can do the other thing. And that speaks through the changes here. And so much of the changes for Sagittarius risings are a reflection of something coming through around career with another person. It could be your partner's a career, giving them a job transfer to go somewhere else. It could be something about another side. And that makes us question, is this the right house for us? Well, if you take that job, don't we have to move like 5 states over? Yeah, we're going to have to move. And the revelation is going to, one, create balance because it's going to change the way you connect with certain people once we get into eclipse season. And it is going to take a lot of work and strength and tenacity to make everything go well. There is opportunity in the temporary energy because we're meant to put something into place for the long term. We are meant to have changes right now. But just as much, we have the unfinished business. And some of us might be dealing with unfinished business tied to money, with our siblings, with our home life, within our family, within that relationship. You're happily divorced, the decree is signed, but by God, co-parenting is so much fun. Every time they do something, it's like a little bit more, creating a wedge. I don't want you in my house. I don't want you in my bubble. I don't want you in my life. I don't want you in this situation. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be with you. I don't want to do this. And that is because Saturn is going one way and Jupiter is going the other. That's why I'm saying it this way. If they were pushing the direction together, then we would be pushing for more things to move ahead. But right now, we are not full steam ahead whenever it comes to Saturn and Jupiter. Jupiter, Venus, yes. Saturn and Jupiter, no. And again, timing is everything. And there can be something that comes to light at the perfect time this week around this full moon, not directly around the exact time of the full moon, but this week around the full moon. And you need to be aware of that. Watch out for those opportunities. Watch out for that revelation. Watch out for that information, that announcement, that debut, that shift. Because it's not your shift, it's coming from another person. And that's not always easy to recognize. Because if everybody's going through shifts, because everybody is, sometimes it's going to take a while for the dust to settle for us to really see where the opportunities were. Because if you see a bunch of things all at once, it makes it real hard. But trust me, there will be the possibility of something to come through. Okay, moving along. Moving along, we're going to get to Capricorns and Capricorn risings. Oh, I love you guys. I do. Oh, so this is a full moon in your second house of money, your assets, your stuff. Squaring Uranus, the ruler of this full moon, in your fifth house of love, luck, romance, joy, happiness, and children. Two things can be true simultaneously, and I need that to be very, very clear with you guys. You can have something very unexpected coming through that makes us aware of the potential with a loved one, with a friend, with a colleague, with a potential love interest, with a client, with a child, because of what Uranus can represent. You can have some unexpected financial change that comes through that directly impacts your happiness. Full moon in the second, squaring Uranus in the fifth. I thought my luck was changing. I thought things were going to get better, but what the hell happened this week? What's going on in this retrograde? Only so much of what we started in the springtime was meant to stick. And then as things progressed, things that are not meant for the long haul, they've started to fall away. I'm bringing all of this up because once we get into September, Pluto is going to go back into your first house, and it is going to be there for 2.5 months. And we can have certain things between those full moons in Capricorn and now this full moon in Aquarius that's making you very, very aware of something going into the future. And for some of you, it's going to bring up some old wounds, some old trauma in the past, old insecurities. Not all of you are ready for that. There is some type of truth in this mix. Now, the Jupiter-Mars conjunction happened in your sixth house of health, how you care for yourself, how you care for other people, work. Jupiter is squaring Venus. Saturn, your chart ruler, is in the opposition to Venus, and Venus is the more dominant ruler of the upcoming eclipse season. And a lot of the energy that we're going through right now is shifting our focus to where we're going to have something new happening, a new potential into eclipse season. Either a new chapter in regards to career, a new opportunity that is coming to light. But before opportunities can come to light, something must fall, something must crumble. In the tarot, if you read this in order, the Tower card is followed by the Star card, because after everything crumbles, we have to realize what's important. And there's some part of this full moon for you guys, it's realizing what's important. And that lesson can be very unexpected. Now, the Mercury retrograde is happening in your eighth house. Death, debt, taxes, inheritance, financial things. But the thing about those financial things is that we're not always open about them. If we're not going to be open about something, then it's a secret. And if we start to talk about secrets, we're getting into the underbelly of the eighth house. And there can be secrets just blurted out, coming to light, coming into focus, that startle us in the full moon, around the full moon. Unexpected voices, unexpected things. Because that Mercury Cazimi is also squaring Uranus. So there are layers to the energy. and layers to the unexpected. Now, Saturn, your chart ruler, that's why I'm bringing him up. He's making a square to that Jupiter Mars conjunction. He is making the opposition to Venus. And for a lot of you, Saturn is looking at the truth, it's looking at the possibilities, and it's looking at the potential outcomes. And sometimes we have to look at all of the outcomes, all of the possibilities before we can make a hard decision. For some of us, the new path that comes to light is because the hard truth is coming to the surface. Page of Swords. And it all comes down again to timing. Wheel of Fortune and this Queen of Coin. If we've had something change in regards to career, in regards to our finances, in regards to the ways that we're making money, those changes are necessary because, again, that Libra eclipse is a new moon eclipse that is supposed to be a peaceful new beginning, something that really speaks to a new way of connecting with people. That's coming in October. And everything right now in this full moon is going to, in this Mercury retrograde is going to directly impact eclipse season. Some of you are being tested to show how much you have grown, to show how much you have healed. And in that moment, you are teaching your other loved ones and the people around you of how to do something different, of how to take better care of themselves, of how to use their voice, of how to overcome, of how to be stronger. Some of us, we need to be stronger for ourselves. Some of us, we need to show that we have become stronger to help another person. Many of you are the support in this full moon. And you can have a multitude of things going on simultaneously. It's a busy, busy full moon. Okay. Moving along. Moving along. We're going to get to Aquarius and Aquarius risings. You are the troublemakers, aren't you? Kinda, sorta, in a way. Some of you are the troublemakers. Some of you, you are making a very harsh decision very, very quickly, because over the last 2 months, those full moons in Capricorn have made you realize something was going on behind your back. I kind of warned of that then. Now, something can be coming into light. Something can be coming into focus, because that Mercury Cazimi in that 7th house of relationships and partnerships and other people. Oh, some of y'all in the courtroom, and you're going to get seen, or you're going to see something, you're going to hear something, and it's just going to change your way of thinking. It's going to change the way you see somebody. You're going to be in that situation. You're going to be walking into the room. You're going to be going through that phone. You're going to be going into something, finding some type of information, and whatever it is going to make you see them differently. Mercury Cazimi in the 7th house. And then the full moon in your first, you're making a decision, a hard decision that can be very unexpected and can very much rock the household, rock the family in a way that nobody was anticipating. Why? Because the full moon is squaring Uranus in the 4th house of home, life, and family. Now, some of you can have some opportunity come through in a legal capacity, like a partnership for someone else, that immediately allows for something to change in the household. Grandma can go live in that full-time nursing home as opposed to having some care in the house. Or grandma can move back home because that nursing home was terrible. And we're going to have to make some changes in the house unexpectedly, but it's the right thing to do. Grandma, mom, uncle, doesn't matter. And there could be something that happens very unexpectedly that leads to immediate changes. You are making some immediate changes. You are being forced to make immediate changes. And for some of you, this has to do with the secret coming through. Now, why do I say that? Let's talk about the layers of this transit. Your chart rulers are Uranus and Saturn. Saturn's in Jupiter's sign, Uranus is in Venus's sign. Jupiter and Venus are in a square. Jupiter's in the 5th house of love, luck, romance, joy, happiness, and children, squaring Venus in the 8th. The sexual houses are active. The affair houses are active. We can catch someone else in a lie about what they've been doing in their spare time, what they've been doing when nobody's around. Again, the last 2 full moons have made you aware of something that has been going on behind the scenes. And little by little, you're starting to see the writing on the wall, and you're coming out of your shell because something has to come to a close. Something has to come to an end, especially if there have been elements of betrayal. And now all of you are dealing with betrayal. Some of you are having to deal with things from the past that's brought up all of these insecurities. And it has made you go into a hermit mode because it is making you have to deal with something from the past. But then there can be something that comes through very unexpectedly that immediately cuts off that vibration and forces a new version of you to come through. Ace of Cups, 4 of Cups, 8 of Wands. Good thing, something like this. 4 of Cups, Ace of Cups, 8 of Wands. That unexpected thing that forces you to come through can be an opportunity that you feel like if you do not take it, that you don't know when another one will happen. You don't know when another thing will come through. You don't know when something else is going to help you. So there is something here that speaks to the new opportunities coming through and not letting it slip through our fingers. That means if that new job possibility happens, we have some other unexpected thing coming through happening. We have to make very fast decisions. 8 of Wands. Your last card is this 4 of Wands. This is a stability card. Now, a full moon squaring Uranus, there is not a lot of stability, which takes me into the things that are being shaken up is going to shake up our stability. And for some of you, it's going to force you back into hermit mode. For others, it's going to force you to take some type of opportunity. For others, it is going to force you to kick someone out of your house, to change an arrangement, to change something with that other person. Because again, you have seen that other side, you have seen the underbelly. What has been revealed to you going into this full moon? Because whatever is getting revealed is going to immediately be a part of what you decide to change. And the thing about the changes of a full moon in your first house is the entire lunar month that follows will have one wave of change after another. And it'll be a reflection of how other people start to see your changes. You're going to start making some big changes over this lunar month ahead. Some of you are going to become more independent, not rely on another person. Some of you are going to be forced to be more independent and not rely on another person. Some of you are going to be forcing something to change. And again, there were tests in this energy. And for some of you, it's going to make you go back into that hermit card. I'm pulling this card back out. It's going to make you go into the hermit mode. The sudden shakeup is going to force you back into something because it's going to bring up all the unresolved issues, all the trust issues, all the frustrations, all of the trauma. But the only way you can work through those energies is to sit with them, to process them, to deal with them in the moment, not squashing them down. And the decision that you make in this full moon, again, is going to directly impact the next 2 months. And for some of you, it's going to make you very reclusive. For others, it's going to open the window, open a door to opportunity that's going to take you into a place you've never been before. Take your family into a place you've never been before, creating a new situation in a way that you've never done before. And it can either be a very empowering and enlightening full moon of this is me now, or it's a very empowering and full moon of I'm not dealing with your shit anymore, get out. And it really kind of comes down to how things have been working with that Mercury Cazimi. What has come through tied to the other person, tied to the legal matter, tied to that, because it's impacting the rest. Okay. Moving along. We're going to get to Pisces and Pisces risings. Hello, my loves. Oh, some people don't like you right now. They don't like your decisions. They don't like what you're doing. They're not happy with you. Or they're just dealing with the fact that you're in charge and they don't really want to like it, but they don't really want to be in charge either. And that kind of comes down to Saturn being in your first house. Now, a full moon in your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings can mean exactly that. Something going on behind your back. Something that is very, very blindsiding. Something that is very, very healing. For some of you, there can be some very unexpected communication that comes through around this full moon, because again, this full moon is squaring Uranus in your third house, which is a travel house. It's your sibling's house. It's a communications house. It's a marketing house. It's a branding house. We could be changing something and starting to explore something we've never done before. Look at the opportunities of something that we have never done before. Facing some fears that's not been easy for us to face. Now, Mercury retrograde, Cazimi, is in your 6th house of health. How you care for yourself and how you care for other people. Jupiter, one of your chart rulers, is in the 4th house of home life, and family, being guided by, being hosted by that Mercury. So what can come to light can have to do with the health of a loved one, of a family member, of your mother, someone in your environment, someone in your surroundings. And it can result in some big healing that needs to come up down the road. Maybe not so much in the moment, but something that can come up down the road. There's a blindsiding effect to the energy around that full moon in Aquarius. For you guys especially, because it is in that 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. But after it perfects, it immediately, the moon moves into Pisces. And the remaining few days around that super full moon is going to be the moon in Pisces. So that means whatever is blindsiding, whatever comes up behind your back, whatever new information and new truth that we don't want to face, this extra task that we end up taking on that feels just draining, it's like it immediately falls onto your lap. Oh, this thing happened. Oh my God, I wasn't anticipating. Here you go. Here's the baby. The hell? What are you doing? That new truth, that new information can immediately be something that results as to additional stress and strain falling onto your lap. Now, Saturn in your first house is squaring Jupiter, squaring your chart ruler. Some of you are telling other people you will help, but you're not taking care of everything. You're not going to be in charge of everything. You're not going to do everything for everybody. You're not going to give everybody and everything what they want. And this is for many of you, it's a new turn of taking on more of those responsibilities, but also holding more of your boundaries. And some people are loving it. They're loving what's starting to happen. They're loving your energy. They're loving that strength. They're loving that resolve. But other people, they're like, why? Why are you acting this way? Why are you telling me no? I don't like it when you tell me no. My dogs hate when I tell them no. So I always think of it that way. But the thing is, you know that for everything to be strong and stable in the long run, moving forward, that we have to say no to certain things in the moment. No, I can't help you. No, I can't cover that. No, I can't come. No, you can't stay here. And sometimes it's going to be that. However, as much as we try to resist the idea of not being in control and not being in charge of someone, that will not last forever. And so quickly, the winds will change. The winds will change. Now, throughout all of these different signs, I've told so many people, like, it's a 2-month thing. Like, we're making certain decisions now that's going to directly impact eclipse season. And really, eclipse season is going to end in exactly 2 months during the full moon in Aries. However, this is the last full moon until that full moon in Pisces, which will be an out of sign eclipse. You will start to make space for something very big that's going to come through later. You will start making very big changes to prepare for something that is going to be later. For many of you, it is going to be a whole new level of responsibility, a whole new level of how you make money, a whole new vibration of things that are going to come through. And that new thing, those new vibrations, that new possibility, a lot of that stuff starts to come through next spring. So you have to hold your cards close to your chest. You have to say no. And you know that. Save your money back, not spending a whole bunch of things, not doing a whole bunch of things. We need to let things work out exactly the way that they're supposed to. Move in the directions that they're supposed to. Stay focused on what's important to you and your family. Allow for excitement to happen whenever it's exciting. But know that whatever is falling onto your plate is going to lead to you making some big decisions. Those big decisions that happen in eclipse season, which starts in a month. So those decisions are not far away. A lot of this full moon's energy is going to directly impact the next 2 months. I'm saying that. But for you guys, whatever decisions you start to make after this full moon can be something that leads to huge vibrational gains come springtime. And I need you to be prepared for that. Vibrational change, physical changes, financial changes, very big changes come springtime. But we're in a setup phase now. In so many ways, you guys are in a setup phase. Do the shopping, make your commitments, do whatever you need to with the other people right now. Okay. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Hit me up with questions, hit me up with concerns. The cards are going to be posted on Facebook and Instagram for people to go actually take pictures of their cards for all the rising signs. And I will talk to everybody very, very soon. Okay. Subscribe.